Hey everybody, in this video I just wanted to quickly show some people the difference between I have a Rokinon 21mm f1.4 manual lens by Rokinon or Samyang for the E-mount, and also I got the newly released super popular, I'm sure you heard of it everywhere by now, it's a Sigma 16mm f1.4 autofocus, and they're both really good lens. I've owned my 21mm Rokinon for about a year and a half, and I've used it extensively, almost always on my camera, for general photography, for picture portraiture and landscape, and environmental landscape portraiture, because it gives a really nice bokeh with your subject in the middle, very sharp. As is the Sigma 16mm. I've used it for about a week now, and the pictures are very sharp. That said, I do think that sharpness is about equal between the Rokinon 21mm and the 16mm, from what I found anyway. And I'll show you some samples. I took non-scientific samples, just a same shot with the same lens, same distance, almost same settings with the same subject, so you can kind of see the sharpness. I'll even post up the sample raw files for you to compare. By the way, I'm not filming. This is not the camera I use. I just got a A6300 camera, but I'm using that obviously to film in 4K, so that you guys can see more clearly. This is the camera that I used to use, but just to show you the size difference. When I first got the Sigma 16mm, I have to say it is quite heavy and big. It may not look like a big difference here between this and that, but I'm going to show you and put it on. But when I hold this, it's a very nice balance. I would say the lens and body is almost equal in weight when I use a Rokinon 21mm, and I really actually got used to manual focusing. I got pretty skilled at it, so quite like it. But anyways, I do enjoy the quick, easy to use autofocus, and especially with the A6300, where it has super fast AFC mode that can just track your subject. Like I can never do that with my manual lens. So just gonna put this on my old Nex 5T, which is still a great camera, by the way. It's not bad, but I definitely feel like the front is a little front heavy. Kind of like harder to balance, and the manual focus is it's focused by wire, so the tactile response that I get from manual focusing isn't as good as my Rokinon 21. But for sure the focal length that you get is wider, so it's a little bit more versatile in terms of landscape photos. What I did find is that the Rokinon 21mm, because the focal length is narrower, you do get a little bit more bokeh for the subjects that you shoot. So I think it really depends on the subject and the type of photos that you want to shoot at for your style. They both are good lens, they both have their purpose, even though they're pretty similar. I do think they both can exist in the photographer's arsenal. So yeah, here are some samples that you can take a look. So here I took some shots of some toys, and I took this photo is from the Sigma 16, and here the next one is from the Rokinon 21. Took from the same spot, same distance. So you can see from the Sigma it's a little bit wider, and the Rokinon is a bit more narrower. I did keep the focus on this particular bread toy right here. Let's look at the comparison photo. I'm going to put the reference photo as. So here you see the Sigma 16 on the left and Rokinon 21 on the right. They're both pretty good. I think they're equally as sharp. I would say the right one, so Rokinon has the depth of field is slightly different. You see the nose is good in focus, whereas the Sigma 16 focus is just not quite the same, so my apologies there. I do think, yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell. I think the sharpness is almost equal. So well, overall, I mean, the picture
is slightly different in terms of perspective. The Sigma 16 gives you a more wider, shows the environment a little bit more with the subject focus with a nice bokeh, whereas the Rokinon 21 is a bit more closer, less distortions. Doesn't show quite as much in the environment. Still shows quite a bit, but obviously gives very good bokeh. So another sample here, my subject and background. Now this is a very close, probably close photo. I'm probably like half a meter away from the subject, and the wall back here is another half a meter away. So there isn't too much of a difference in background separation. That said, this is the Rokinon 21. It is able to give a little bit of a background separation blur, even though we're this close with the background relatively close. So you can see the little bokeh here, so you can see there's a bit of blur. And this is the Sigma 16, which gives a similar look. The background is also actually blurred too. And then you can see the subject is also very close to me. Same angle, I'm sitting in the same spot, taking the same photo with similar settings, whatever. So let's put these side by side. So left side would be the Rokinon, whereas the right side is the Sigma 16. So you can see a big difference here. On the right side, you see the TV. It shows much more of the environment compared to the left one. So yeah, again, it's up to you. It's up to your style to see what kind of photos you want to take. In general, the Rokinon gives less distortion, more. Like if you are, the focus of the photo is more of the subject, more of the portrait. If they're an adult, I would lean more towards the Rokinon 21. If the subject is smaller, like children or kids or things or toys or flowers, you can get much more up close and still have the subject in the full frame. So for something like this, I think the Rokinon looks slightly more like almost like a cinematic feeling compared to the right Sigma, which looks a bit more casual kind of shot. So yeah, hopefully that helps. It's a comparison.
One of the other things I found was that when I use this lens, I do feel people look at me a little more than when I'm using this one, because I guess it is a bigger lens and they feel like they're being photographed, compared to if I use this one, it's a little bit more stealthy. But again, they both have their purpose and they're both good lenses. Both F1.4, I think both very sharp, good bokeh. Yeah, if you want to see more samples, then look up the reviews for the Rokinon 21mm. I think it is a pretty underrated lens, and you can get one for pretty cheap these days. I think I saw one on Amazon for like $300 flat, or even like $280 or something. So compared to $450 US, it depends. I'm sure the autofocus is worth that extra $100-ish, but this provides photos that a Sigma 16 can't quite produce, I really think. Thank you, and hope that was some good information for those that are considering something like this versus something like this, or perhaps getting both.